Hi everybody. I thought I'd better come visit you before the day gets any hotter. For those of you who haven't heard, BC is under an extreme heat warning, and it's going to last over a week, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. But our spring was warm. We never had the rain we usually do. June is usually rainy, and we've had no rain, and right now it is 110 on this patio. That's what the thermometer says. So we did this big rush to get the orchids in the other day. It was 110, and Jack and I just decided that's it. We're going to bring them in because there also wasn't much humidity out there. And they can take a fair amount of heat, but anything you read on the internet will say, upper 90s is like, that's it. No, they can't do it. Well, 110, they all look pretty good, and I hated to bring them in, but it was getting, it's just like reaching, our thermometer quits saying how hot it is. It was like 140 in the sun. It's beating against the west side of our house, and at night when we're just before supper, you could, the window I bought second blinds for. I have some blinds come right down by the glass and another that comes further out. Well, because of the two blinds, it's a little cooler, but the other one with the west sun and this heat, you get anywhere near that window and it will knock you over. And we don't have air conditioner. We have a little window one over here. It's the only one in the house. And if we get desperate, we will use it. As I'm sweating, even talking will make you sweat. That's how hot it is. I did housework this morning, and the toilet tank was even sweating. I've never seen the toilet tank sweat before. But anyway, yes, this is very, very, very nasty. And I do want to say before I get on anymore that at the end of the video, I'm adding a little thing I don't think you should miss, because it's 140 in the greenhouse. And it's a little more humid because of the pond than it was out here. So I, about 2 months ago, stuck 2 sad-looking orchids out there, and they've been out there, and they're under one of the shelves, and sometimes I remember to water them, sometimes I don't, but they've had no fertilizer, no nothing. All they get, if I go in to water the lemon and orange tree, they get the same thing. That's all they get. That's all they've been getting. And I've been curious because the greenhouse, it gets very hot. Way hotter than anywhere else because it's a greenhouse. And there's no shade cloth over it. It's hot in there. Our shade cloth is on the roof of the solarium. But anyway, don't miss it because it's a little bit important what's out there. So anyway, and before I get on with what else I want to especially thank the people that have been sending PayPal me or written checks in the mail to help with the postage on our gifts, which are getting closer to being ready. I think we're looking at July. So I just want to quickly thank them for their kindness to help us all out. So Pamela, Valerie, Linda, Francis, Joanne, Jack, Joyce, Georgia and Georgia M, and Georgia B, Kathleen, and Sabrina. I think that's somebody's cat, they said. Thank you. So I just wanted to quickly thank you because it is going to be a great help. And we're going to do some orchid talk, but first, because it's been so hot, I've been painting. It's not finished, but it's almost finished. And then when I'm through painting, it will get 2 coats of everything, inside and outside, because I've painted further down the inside on this one, which I never did on mine, because sometimes that fluorescent orange shows that's halfway in the middle, you can see it. And I painted at the bottom because you usually put some wire in, and the wire goes to about here, and then that left a fluorescent orange down here if you look through the holes. So what I've done is I painted some watercolor down in this lower part, and there's a couple fish in there I'm still working on. Let me see. You might see them, but they're going to be visible only at certain angles. I don't know if you're going to pick them up. Oh, there's one. I haven't, they're not finished. So, let's see. So we got some fish, and we got some lily flowers, and we got orchids and birds and a little bit of everything. So it's just about ready, and we've ordered the paint for the stand because I use a really, really good paint so it never comes off, and the material doesn't rust, but also you can use it on stuff that does rust, so you never get rust. And it only comes in like John Deere green. I wanted to do green, so I've ordered green and red and yellow so that I can make some little pots and get nicer colored green, so when it's in the stand will look like vines. So that's the plan for that. And so that's on go. I'll show you later when I pick up the camera. I have this whole counter over here, my kitchen counter, full of orchids. And I have the rest here because, like I said, that west side of our house is cooking hot. By 6 o'clock, there's about 3 hours in the evening you just don't know where to go. It's hot outside, it's hot inside, and they're suffering and I'm suffering, but you know what? We'll make it. So, where did I put my scissors? Now, sometimes when you move your orchids outside, you have to make sure they're shaded. They can take more heat, and you don't want that direct light. But still, some orchids that are not used to being in a lot of light, and you move them out to, maybe it's not too much light, but it's more light than they're used to, then sometimes the underside of the leaves will get quite purple, sometimes the edges, and some people might think that's a calcium magnesium deficiency, but with me it isn't, because they get more than enough calcium magnesium with the watering schedule. And with me, the ones that I will show you after, it's definitely the shock of not used to that much light, because it's some newer ones mostly. And sometimes if that orchid has a purple flower, it will also tend to be on that purple side. But orchids have something called anthocyanins, something like that. Anyway, I'm better at just saying what it is. And it's kind of like a sunscreen or a protective device that the orchid puts out when there's too much light for it. So if you do see those signs and you think it could be the light, then you may want to back them off. As long as it's not going to hurt your orchid, but it's a sign that it's had to send out a little more, soldiers to help with what's going on. So that is good. Now, I didn't want to bring all my misting bowls in from outside, because hopefully this will pass and I'll be putting them back outside again. So I had one of my I have this misting bowl that is like the one we're going to be giving away, but the one we're giving away is clear glass in this one. So I had that over there not in use, and I brought it in just to help with this corner. Now, because of the heat, the ones in flower have been in flower for 6 months. So if they're getting down to 2 or 3 flowers and they're starting to look limp, I've cut them off. Now, the 2 yellow ones that I stuck in the red fancy pot that we made, that's those flowers. And these ones were getting limp too a while ago, and I cut them off. And so if, you know, sometimes you hate to take them off. Now, if they're doing good, like this one's going to go soon. I mean, it's been 6 months, plus they've been getting this extra heat, because it's not just like extra heat when they were outside. This house was like 98 or something last night. I mean, it's hot. So this one here, I'll be cutting it off. You can see that it's limpy. And this one is starting to go. The one where I put 2 in the pot, and this was in bloom for 6 months. So probably, and even this one, I mean, they're just not going to take what's happening. The purple one in the back, I see it's got 1 weak one. So as they're getting down to 2 and 3, I'll just be adding them to the vase on the dining room table. And I got one surprise to show you, because this one wasn't outside, it's been inside. I've got all the babies in the front by the light. I didn't want to move them. No. See if I can show. We got a bloom. It's not perfect. There's another one going to open right here. So there's 2. It's very pretty. And this one's going to open. They've been getting watered every 2nd day still. Because I know it's draining right through because of the bark. And I'm making sure that pebble tray, the water's a little bit lower, so that, because I think it was Scott, he said these clay pots will bring up the moisture, which probably wouldn't hurt right now, because I think our humidity isn't as high as I'd like it in the house. But so that one. And then, you know what happens if you move your orchids? If you move your orchids when they're in bud, they don't like it. And so this one here, it dropped one of its little buds it had. Right in here. It dropped one that was on there. There's more coming, but it was outside. And I brought them in. And it wasn't just that one. It was, I'll show you that one in a minute, because I'm going to be picking up the camera. But it was my big lip that was in spike. Well, it dropped one. It hasn't dropped it yet. I haven't taken it off. I want to show you. The other ones look like they'll be okay. But they've gone, that was a real move. And they will do that. A big change. Or even in temperature, a big change. So that would be why that happened. Other than that, they all look pretty good. I want to show you them. And then I got a couple things to show you about the misting dish we'll be giving away. And the orchids on here. So thanks for all your support and all the nice emails that I've got to know so many of you. And it's really nice. And I'm just going to pick up the camera and take you on a little bit of an indoor tour. But don't forget to watch the end of the video. And In the description, I'll put my email address and the PayPal thing for those who feel they can do that. Okay. Okay. So considering the heat they went through, they're doing pretty good. But here's the big lip. And you can see there's the bud she's going to drop. You always see the little stems start to go a bit of a different color, and you know that something's happening. So the others, I think they're going to be okay. It might be just that one. So, and then the ones in the basket, this one is still sending out a little short spike because it was all wrapped around in a knot and it had trouble growing, so it finally decided it could grow out and be a spike. So they're doing good. And I gave them an extra watering today, but just under the tap, so they just need it. They just can't go a week in this weather. So lots of new leaves coming. And back here, this is the one that had a spike at Christmas and then had a double spike, and I cut one off and it's in the vase. It wasn't going to stay either, so. But this is a yellow one. It's got a nice leaf, and Moon Glow's got a nice leaf. Now here's my two that were saddest. And this one just sending out roots like crazy. So this was a new leaf. It's not real big, but it's healthier looking than, say, this one. And this one is now sending out a new leaf, and it has a couple nice new roots. Now, in the back there, that's my oldest orchid that was doing so good. She's got a bit of purple on her underside. You can notice that. And would you believe she got forgotten when we carried all the orchids in? It went over like, I don't know how hot it was. But yeah, she got left out. I went out the next day, and there she was. So this one, still 6 months flowering. It lost some back a long time ago, and then it just kept getting more. And it has a new leaf. So that's doing good. And there's lots of new roots coming. Like, here's where I took the two yellow ones off there on the table. But there's signs of lots of roots coming down in there. I think in that hot weather, they just said, come on, send out roots, we're going to die. And that's what they did. So here's some of the more sheltered ones waiting. Okay, we'll go over this way now. I have to go back into the kitchen. So this is my whole kitchen counter right now. I didn't do the dishes, sorry, from lunch. So they're doing good. Oh, I had to go and show you the red leaf, so hold on. I don't want to move too fast because even I can get dizzy sometimes, some of my videos. Okay. So, yeah, I'll show you this one up closer. So, this is my orchid that went into the double pot. Look at the nice new leaf coming. Like, it hasn't bothered it. It's got lots of healthy roots, lots of growth. The bigger the end, then the faster it's growing. But I have noticed this one here, the one I got from my daughter on Mother's Day, it is starting to send out some roots. And the leaves are still floppy, but you can see down in here, there is some little roots. They're starting to come, so. But you can see I'll be cutting this one off today. So, I mean, they can't stay forever. So they'll be joining the ones on the table. Lots of new leaves. And this is the one I repotted. the purple one, and it's got a nice leaf coming. And in the back, on a tray, and there's the stand. I actually turned the tea light stand upside down and put it on an ashtray this time. I just put it a little bit higher, but you can play around with how it sets and where it mists best for you. Okay, so now the glass bowl. Okay, now this is the one we're going to be giving away. I'll try and film when Jack drills the hole in it so everybody can see what he's doing. And these, I've got 4. I'm not sure if I'm using 4 or 3. These are from a chandelier that hung over our stairway, but when we had the elevator put in, we took it out. They make great, you unscrew the little thing, and they make a great stand, and you can cut them off to the size that suits the bowl, but it's going to be so pretty in there. And then I'll have to get a glass tea light, and I will silicone with aquarium silicone. I will silicone them like this. Now, don't look at this black, but it's what we had, and it was aquarium. You have to use aquarium silicone. Now, and there's the tea light. So you can buy them, and if you see them and you're making one, get the one with the big holes. Some of them are smaller, but you need the size to fit your Mr. Fogger. So I'm going to use clear silicone on this bowl so that it looks nicer. But the black, they'll even tell you, is stronger. But we're going to order some clear. So then that'll get done. So should be fun. So I'm going to add that on, and I'm going to say goodbye and try and stay cool for the rest of the afternoon. Bye for now. $109, and we're headed for this is in the patio. It's much hotter. This is the cool side of the house. You go in the front and it's hot. Just got to put some shoes on. We're going to check on 2 orchids that are in the greenhouse where it's even hotter. This is how hot it is. It went so hot, this won't even register anymore in the sun. Of course, they don't take the temperature in the sun, but it's off the record, and this is an accurate thermometer. We're going to go to the greenhouse. Oh my God, it's hot. I can't believe the big jumbo lilies are all out, though. So I have to share that with you. This is amazing. Okay, let's go in the greenhouse. Now, about 2 months ago, I stuck 2 orchids out here, and they've been totally neglected. They don't get fertilizer. Once in a while, they get water, and it is hot. Like, what's the temperature in here? Thermometer. Oh, it's way over the 120. It's just way over. It's crazy. And here's 2 orchids. Look at this. Now, they're out here for all this. I haven't taken them in. And what are they doing? Look how dry this is. What are they doing? They're getting new roots and they're getting a leaf. Are orchids better dry than wet? As far as neglect goes, okay. And this other one, also dry. There is a new leaf coming. There's one going yellow. And there is some green down there. Look at this. So, all I do is give them some water when I come in, which is about every other day or so. They're out here in over 140 in this greenhouse. It is hot. In fact, I think we're going to lose our lemon tree. Orange trees hanging in, but, and yeah, this is crazy. I had to share that with you. Probably be joining it on to another video. So it's about 4:30 p.m. here, and we are cooking. Bye for now.